Jenny Bowen, speech language therapist here at Speech Family. And so in the previous video, I talked about speech disorders, what they are, when should we decide, okay, I think my child may need to speak to a speech therapist, have an evaluation, and what treatment may look like. Now let me go into language. So what is a language disorder? And oftentimes I even get parents calling me that their child has already been diagnosed with a language disorder and they do not know what this means. So let me break it down. There's two steps. So there's a receptive language, there is expressive language. First, I'm going to discuss receptive. Receptive language is the listening and the reading, that pure comprehension. That's listening to what the information is coming in, that is reading what's in front of us, and it's understanding language. So that's understanding vocabulary, what a cow is, that is understanding those questions, who, what, when, where, why, how. It's understanding concepts, colors, sizes, opposites, big, small. And it's being able to follow directions. I can understand the directions, therefore I can follow them. And we have to have receptive language before we can get to expressive language. And so, expressive language, that is the speaking, and that is the writing. And so, this is how we are going to express our wants and needs. This is how we're using the vocabulary, how the vocabulary is being used, and if it's following a grammatical rule. We have our grammar. So if our child or even the adult, the grammar is incorrect or is not where it should be for their age, that is expressive language. And then it's even finding the right words when talking. And so part of it also, expressive language, just to let parents know, it's not just speech. Again, language is also nonverbal. So how are we using gestures? How are we using those facial expressions? And so to go a little bit further into this, during a speech and language evaluation, that is typically the standard protocol for a child when they come to see us. We're going to look at speech and we're going to look at language, because if we're not using speech, and for whatever reason, that we'll try to find out during evaluation, then how are we using our gestures and our face to receive or communicate the needs and wants for us every day? And so part of that is also understanding how to match that in certain situations. So a lot of times they overlap, the speech and language part. So when a child comes in to see us, for example, I want to have fun. I want to play with the child because I want to hear any sounds that they're making or what sounds they're making. And then I'm also wanting to hear and watch them. Silence is golden. Silence is huge. And I like to tell that to parents, because just sitting back and watching your child and how they might be playing with a toy, are they using it appropriately? Are they wanting to share their toy with mom and dad or another child? If there's a sound from another room, is that child turning their body to try to find out where that sound is? So a lot goes into a language evaluation, the language part. There are standardized tests where we will ask the child to point to certain objects on a page, and then we'll also then look at the expressive side. Tell me what this child is doing, or what is not on this page, what is missing, or look at this basket, look for the dog that has big white spots, and it might be in a basket with 4 dogs that are all different colors, some with stripes, but only one will have the white dots. So we're grasping if they understand, and if they're pointing to the correct one, the pointing is the expressive one. So that is what a language evaluation for a child will look like. It does start to get more in depth the older the child gets, and even for adults that have had possibly strokes or traumatic brain injury or something to affect their language. And so, but for children, we do have a chart that is formed by the American Speech Language Hearing Association, also known as ASHA, and they compile all of the evidence-based research and what the research shows and where a child should be by a certain age. So this is a little bit lengthier of a video because I want to go more in depth in that. I'm not going to go into as an infant, but I'll pick up right around the age of 1 to 2 because often I get a parent calling to let me know their child is 18 months old. 16 to 18 months old can be a big, for parents start to realize like, I don't think my child is either using language or using their speech sounds. They're not saying much. They're a quiet baby. And I, as an aunt, but also as a speech therapist and as someone that talks to parents all the time, a quiet baby is not what I want to hear. I want to hear babies that are loud, cooing, babbling in that first year. So that is good. But so right now, I just want to talk about receptive milestones and expressive milestones. So that way you understand if maybe my child should go further into receiving or looking for a speech therapist to evaluate their language. And so from 1 to 2 years old, for receptive, again, that is that understanding language. Receptively, the child should be following one-step directions. They should understand simple questions. What is that? It's a cow. What is that, though, is the receptive part. And then they should be able to point to the named objects. Point to the cow, and they'll point to the cow. At that time, 1 to 2 years, expressively, they should be putting two words together. They should say hello to people. That's that social communication, understanding how to use their language appropriately. So saying hello, saying goodbye, having that body language, looking at the person, hello and goodbye. And then they should be asking those simple WH questions. Where is mom? What is it? For maybe a type of fruit. They should be asking these questions. Also, parents are surprised when I tell them by 18 months, a child should have, on average, 50 words. And by 2 years, they should have 200 to 300 words. So that's a big one. Again, receptively, we may understand, but expressively, why are we not using those words? So that's what we're looking at from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3, receptively, we should be following two-step directions. Go put on your socks and shoes. Go put your cup on the dinner table. So understanding also opposites, big, little, hot, cold, understanding more complex questions using and or using prepositions. And then they should also at this time start putting 3 words together. They should be asking why questions, and in their sentences they should be using prepositions like in and on. So next, and then to go with the vocabulary part, by 3 a child should have 1,000 words. From 3 to 4 years old. Receptively, a child should be using simple concepts like their colors and shapes, and they should be responding to their name from another room, whether they say something back or they run from that room and go to where you are. So they should be understanding this part of the language, and they should also, from expressive language, they should be now really using sentences. They should be asking when and how, and they should be using their pronouns, I and me, and adding S's onto words. So hold up a picture of 2 or 3 cats. What is this? And they say cats. Or what is this? Horses. So adding that plural. That's what we're looking for. And if it's not there, that's language again, just understanding that vocabulary, the grammar part of language. So by 5 years old, we already know up to 2,500 words. And by 5, we should be understanding first and last, we should be following multi-step directions and understanding multi-step directions. We should be able to start to tell short stories and keep that conversation going. And this is really for in latest 5, having conversations. And so, by having those conversations, they should be picking up on your language too. They should be using different affect in their conversation, with they're excited or sad and how they're feeling. They should be looking, they should be turn taking, pausing and waiting for you to maybe answer or ask a question. So that's what that conversation should be looking like, and that is between 4 and 5. And I say this with this like almost shocking part, because many times parents don't realize that at that young age that it's like this like little adult in front of us talking to us, and that's the expectation. So if we're based off of what I just gave you with some of these milestones, if you're having that gut reaction where you're like, oh, I think something is going off. I mean, parents always know. I always tell parents, go with that gut feeling. Then definitely reach out to your speech therapist or a speech therapist in your area, or feel free, please, to just email me. I'm always happy talking to parents about this. This is my love. This is what my passion is. And I can go on and on about it. So don't hesitate to reach out and ask me any questions that you may have or concerns that you may have, because, definitely here just to help point you guys into the right direction. All right, thanks so much for listening. Bye, guys.